So my name is Kim Francis and I'm a deacon within the Uniting Church of Australia in Perth. My church is Maylands Mount Lawley Uniting Church. So I was just ordained as a deacon 1 year ago, and it was quite a long journey for me to get to this point. When I was 16 years old, I inquired about how to become a deaconess in the Uniting Church because I was leading a Bible study when I was at school, and I felt that was a calling. However, at that time I didn't pursue it, and I studied science and psychology, became a teacher, a maths teacher, and worked in various fields of social science research, and then for 5 years as a teacher in a hospital. But all along this way, I guess my passion was serving Christ and Christian education, and I was always working in the church, particularly in youth work and children's ministry. And then I was invited about 20 years ago by my local church to come on board as staff as a children and family coordinator. So that was a great privilege, and for a while I continued to teach as well. And then the opportunity came and I became just continued in the church. But I still had a very strong desire to learn and to study. I guess you could say I felt called to study the Bible. And so I did various different courses in children's ministry and pastoral care at different places, and eventually completed a Bachelor of Theology at Murdoch University. Sometimes I'd have to pinch myself when I was in the library at Murdoch to think I'm sitting here and I'm studying the parable of the prodigal son. It really felt like this was the right time. And I had the privilege of meeting many friends and colleagues from other congregations and women from various different churches, and that was a great network. I guess I was always a bit hesitant because as a young adult, I did know about Bible passages which discouraged women from being key leaders. And my husband is a minister, so I thought that to be his wife, a minister's wife, was great, and it was really great. But actually my husband encouraged me to preach. One night I woke up in the morning after having read some passage in the Bible from Acts about Priscilla and Aquila, and I said to my husband, "You should preach on this." And he said, "No, I think you should preach on this." And then I started to do a little bit of preaching. And as I did the Alpha course, one particular verse that was the call of Nicky Gumbel, the leader, was, "Woe is me if I preach not the gospel," just started to resonate in my mind. Actually, probably every day in my office, I would think, woe is me if I preach not the gospel. And so as time went on, I thought, I don't want to get to the end of my life and not have done what God wanted me to do. So I candidated as a deacon in the Uniting Church. But I guess I was reluctant. I didn't really want to put myself forward. It was a process of discernment right through to the end. And my understanding of ministry is that it's using spiritual gifts, your spiritual gifts. I have quite an egalitarian view of ministry, that like the Bible, every Christian has a different ministry. And I still sometimes struggle with the old voices that said maybe a woman shouldn't be doing this, and lack of confidence. But there was a time when I was really questioning whether I should proceed to ordination. We were travelling in the UK at the time, and most days we would go into little churches and big churches and cathedral, and every day I was just praying, should I proceed to ordination? I wasn't really expecting a clear answer, but one day in Buckfast Abbey, as I was sitting in quite a modern, light prayer area, 3 scripture verses came to my mind. One was, woe is me if I preach not the gospel. Straight after that, feed my sheep. And thirdly, Jesus set his face to Jerusalem. And it seemed like such a clear guidance because I had been praying so regularly. Woe is me if I preach not the gospel, the call to preach. Feed My Sheep had been the theme of the first Bible study I ever attended and had been a key passage as I moved into children's ministry and employment by the church. And I guess I interpreted the final scripture as be determined, set your face and stop messing around, stop that. And even today, when I need to preach this Sunday and I have a bit of self-doubt, this morning I think of that call of Christ and remember, woe is me if I preach not the gospel. Feed my sheep. And in some ways I am living the dream that God has placed in my heart 40 years ago. That's me. That's Kim.